Hello everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar today, looking at remote access and scoring of the WRAT-5 using our Qglobal platform. My name is Richard Nash, and I'm the Customer Success Manager for Pearson Clinical in the UK. And I'm joined today by my Customer Success Consultant, Menashe Mashonga-Mende. Just to touch on what we'll be going through in the course of this pre-recorded webinar, I'll be touching on an introduction to Qglobal and giving you some background information on the platform. I'll then hand over to Menashe, who will be looking at the remote administration options available to you as teachers and Senkos for the WRAT-5 using the platform. We'll also be looking at the scoring and reporting options of the WRAT-5 using the Qglobal platform as well, before going into looking at some of the most commonly asked questions that we've received over the last few months about using the WRAT-5 in this method digitally. So firstly, just to touch on what is Qglobal, just a little bit more broadly to give you some context on the platform. So Qglobal is a web-based platform. Traditionally, it was used for administering on-screen questionnaire type assessments that didn't require any interaction between clinician and client or teacher and child. It has, however, more recently been updated with additional test content and stimulus material to allow for those assessments that do require that interaction and allow the platform to be used in a more telepractice or telehealth format. We'll come on to that in a little bit more detail in the course of the presentation and in the demonstration as well. But essentially, the platform will allow you to display stimulus material via a teleconferencing platform so you can complete your assessments remotely. And obviously at the moment, in light of all of the restrictions around the pandemic, that is something that potentially could help you continue to assess. So a little bit more about Qglobal. Qglobal is a 24/7 accessible web-based platform. So you can log in from wherever you are to access your assessments and your assessment data. You can log in from a tablet or a laptop or desktop. It's not restricted to a specific kind of device. The platform will allow you to generate scores as well and allow you to download reports on your data. And therefore you'll be able to save those outside of the platform and put alongside any student records that you have. As I touched on from the previous slide, there are also on-screen and remote on-screen administrations option available for a number of other assessments. But for the WRAT-5 today, we're going to be concentrating specifically on the telehealth or telepractice method of assessment, whereby you're screen sharing the materials. Finally, we also provide access to test manuals online on Qglobal via the resource library section of the platform. And this is where all of the stimulus content is held as well. And Menashe will be running through that in a moment. So hopefully that gives a little bit of context around Qglobal and how the platform can be used. And now I'm going to hand over to Menashe, who will share his screen and walk you through a demonstration of the WRAT-5 and what you can do on the platform. So Menashe, over to you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Richard, and thank you all for listening in today. Just going to bring up the Qglobal platform on screen and run through a demonstration of what users can expect to see and do with the WRAT-5 on the platform. So this is the landing page of Qglobal after you log in. As Richard said in the introduction, it is a web-based platform, and this is the web URL that you're logging into. It's username and password protected and is also two-factor authentication secure as well. Once you've logged in, you'll immediately land on the scoring and reporting tool. I will come back to this feature, but the first feature I'd like to make you aware of is the resource library at the very top of the screen. As Richard touched on, for the WRAT-5, we've digitized a whole host of the resources that would otherwise traditionally be in paper format. This includes manuals and the card sets. Those resources are available in the resource library following purchase. And once you're in the resource library, heading down to the folder for the WRAT-5 will reveal those items to the user. There are two folders, a general and a restricted. The general folder will contain some information packs about the WRAT-5, including instruction on how to use the digital assets on the Qglobal platform, as well as a very useful sample report from the scoring and reporting tool. In the restricted folder itself is where you'll find the digitized components of the paper kit. These come in two different types of resource, manuals and the card sets. The manuals, when you open them, are a secure document. They can't be printed, downloaded, or saved anywhere else on your computer and must be viewed on screen after you've opened them. There are various different tools built into the viewable PowerPoint/PDF presentation of this document that you can use to navigate around, including this sidebar icon and a scroller on the right-hand side. That was the test manual, and the norms book is very much the same. Scrolling further down will reveal all of the norms tables. The other resources then are the card sets, and these are really here to help facilitate telepractice administration of the subtests in the WRAT-5. Opening these will reveal that these are PDF documents, carbon copies of the card sets in the paper kit, and ultimately, as they're accessible on screen, you'll be able to bring up the reading lists using a separate teleconferencing tool like Microsoft Teams or Zoom. You'll then be able to share the reading list with your candidate on screen. In conjunction with using the paper-based record forms, you'll be able to score as you administer the subtests. It's worth noting that the reading lists and the card sets in general are printable and can be saved as files on your machine. Please note, though, that these are restricted components, and should you save these as files on your machine, we would advise that you don't share these with anybody outside of your institution or anybody who isn't qualified to administer the subtests. Following administration of the subtests and with those raw scores on your paper record form, Qglobal can then be used to score and report your WRAT-5 administration. To do that, you'll head back to the landing page of the platform by selecting Home. Once you're on that home screen, you're presented with the option to create your candidate's profile by pressing New Examinee. Enter the candidate's information. Populate the gender and the date of birth. Hit Save, and your candidate will then begin to populate the main list. Once the candidate's in the list, you'll use the tick box next to their name, press Assign New Assessment, head over to the section that contains the WRAT-5, and assign either form that you've administered. The system will automatically take you to a new screen, displaying information that you can amend again, and further down, the all-important demographics and score entry tabs. Please note it will require you to select the name of the examiner from the drop-down list, as well as the testing site. Enter the grade level, and then populate the raw scores from the record form. Press Save and Close once that information's entered. Scroll up and use the Generate Report icon. Purchasing a scoring subscription allows the report configuration window to open. You're able to change the format of the report from PDF to Word. You've got various options for including and omitting data on the left-hand side and settings with the confidence interval on the right. Once you're happy with what you've selected, press Generate Report. Once the report's generated, it extracts itself from the platform instantly, available then as a Word document, and that document can be saved anywhere on your machine. Press Home to head back to the landing page and continue from there. So that was a quick demonstration of the WRAT-5 on Qglobal. It's fairly straightforward, resources that are accessible in the library. The card sets in particular will help facilitate telepractice administration of the subtests in conjunction with a separate teleconferencing tool. And then you've also got the option of scoring and reporting your WRAT-5 administration using the Qglobal platform. So we're just going to bring Richard back in and go through a few FAQs now, going through some of the most popular questions that our users or prospective users have pinned to us.
Thanks very much for that run through, Menashe. So yeah, as I said earlier, and as Menashe's just alluded to, we do have some commonly asked questions on the WRAT-5 and Telepractice that we'll run through now. So Menashe, if you'd like to read out the first question, please.
Okay, so the first of the questions, do I still require the record forms when I use the scoring subscription?
Yeah, so the answer to this question is yes. You would need to administer the test with the paper record forms, as Menashe has alluded to. That's the case whether you actually administer in a face-to-face setting as per normal or remotely via Telepractice. Then once you've captured those scores onto the record form, you would enter into Qglobal to generate your report in the way that Menashe's just run through. In addition to that, this webinar, there's also a sample report on the WRAT-5 page on our website that you can also look at as well. So that's definitely, yes, you do need the record forms in paper format. Okay.
Brilliant. Does the Qglobal spelling card set / comprehension card set / reading card set include green or blue? Can I choose which one?
Great, yeah. So with that, it's quite a straightforward answer, thankfully. It means the answer is that you can, when you purchase the card sets, they come with the green and blue versions included. So you don't have to choose between the two when you're purchasing. They just come together.
Brilliant. On to the next question. Can I send the response form so that the math and spelling subtests can be administered?
Okay, so this is the response form that the child or the examinee would normally complete for those two subtests when you're doing the assessment in a face-to-face session. So the answer to whether you can send them to the examinee is yes, if you feel it's appropriate. You can provide the response booklet to the facilitator in advance of the testing session and also communicate the plan for securing and forwarding the returning materials post the session as well. For example, you could seal the response booklet so that it's clearly labeled and have the facilitator open the envelope on camera only after they've been requested to do so by yourself as the practitioner. And then subsequently return the original response booklet to yourselves as the examiners in a prepaid envelope to ensure the test security isn't compromised and the test records can be maintained. Also, the examiner or facilitator may sign, seal and tape up the provided envelope so that it cannot be opened without tearing, and therefore show the envelope to the examiner on camera when you start your teleconferencing session. They should be instructed also to immediately post it back to you. It is acceptable to ask the examinee or facilitator to show pages of the response booklet immediately, if necessary, to facilitate the scoring, but the response booklet should always be returned to yourselves as well, even if they have shown you that information on screen as part of the teleconferencing session. So hopefully that answers that one.
Brilliant, thank you, Richard. And lastly, if I buy the card sets, does this only cover one administration? How long do they last in my Qglobal account?
Okay, so the card sets are a one-off purchase, so it's not covering one administration, and in fact it's not an annual subscription either. Once you have purchased the card sets, they're accessible via the resource library to use as many times as you need them. So basically it's a one-off purchase. Leading on from that, let me just share my screen and I'll show you where to find additional information on the relevant prices for the WRAT materials on Qglobal. So now I'm sharing my screen, which contains the WRAT-5 price list, plus some other information on the WRAT-5 too. So as I scroll down through the relevant information on the test, I'll get to the price list. And right at the top here, you can see we've got Qglobal web-based administration, scoring and reporting, and a drop down there for that. Within this list, you can see that all of the relevant materials that are available for the WRAT-5 in digital format, those that Menashe went through as part of the demonstration, such as the manual and the reading cards, and the individual prices for each component. So each component is a separate purchase, and it's a one-off purchase. There's no annual fees involved here. And once you purchase the items, they're yours. So, and there are two options for purchasing these resources, either online, just by using our shopping basket tool, or you can order via our customer services team directly on 0345 630 8888. Just moving down to the scoring section, as Menashe generated the report as part of the demonstration there, you do need either a subscription or credit to be able to do that, in addition to the one-off purchases of the stimulus material. The subscription is a one-year unlimited use subscription. So that means you could score 100, 150 different people for the fee currently in 2021 of £45 plus VAT. The alternative, and it is an either or decision, is to purchase credits on a one-off basis to score just those assessments you may need to do. There's no minimum or maximum order quantity for the pay-per-use credits either. However, obviously, if the total number of reports is anticipated to be above £45, it's better to purchase the subscription, more cost effective. However, if you're only going to be doing 3 or 4 reports in a year, then therefore it would follow that the score report would be the option that you would probably choose. There's no different in the report output at all. It's exactly the same. So it's just a case of what works best for yourself or your institution. Once you purchase the subscription or credits, they get loaded onto the platform, ready for you to use as and when you need to generate a report. And again, you can order these in the same way that you can from the stimulus material too. Okay, so I hope that's answered some questions today around the WRAT-5 and telepractice use via Qglobal. As you can see, our contact details are on screen, both Menashe and myself. Always feel free to contact us if you have any questions around using the WRAT-5 on Qglobal. We're here to support users. If you require a demonstration, for example, of the platform to your team, we're more than happy to facilitate that as well. So please do get in touch with us. But other than that, all it remains for me to say is thank you to Menashe for running through the platform, and thank you for joining this webinar today. Goodbye.